Well, this is another one of the solutions videos. I'm doing this off the top of my head, and I really probably should try to be more organized. Anyway, get to the point. Some things are political, and our political system is really broken. And there's a lot of things that can be fixed. Subtle social things that can be fixed by creating a social infrastructure that accommodates human need. And I've tried to explain that I think we're doomed in this society because we really don't allow for people to have a stake in preserving our society. I mean, if you have certain beliefs, you really have no hope of having those beliefs heard, no chance to make a persuasive argument even. And that's what creates your radical, disenfranchised, I'm going to get you, and that's the kind of person you just can't afford to create in the world anymore. People have to see they have to see a purpose in investing in a negotiation with the rest of society to create change, rather than seeing purpose in just taking as much of society out as they can. And so I think a solution to part of that problem anyway would be a better political system. I mean, our democracy is garbage. It's not proportional representation. It's nothing. It's useless. It's a two-party system, period, and there's no excuse for it. So I'll post some links over there, pointing out a couple of videos here on YouTube, that really have very low views, and you're saying, gee, these subjects can't do better than that. But anyway, one of them is instant runoff elections, which is an obvious reform. I mean, it's just so, it's not, well, what's the point in saying obvious? Is obviously nobody's getting it. I mean, it allows you to vote for a third-party candidate without throwing your vote in the garbage. I mean, perfectly sensible thing. I mean, you just, George Bush would not have been elected in the first time if we had such a mechanism, and that's the way it should have been. I mean, the person who won the popular vote should have won the stupid election. But anyway, there's no, I mean, that's a real insult to our democracy right there. But anyway, I mean, the point is that third-party candidates should not be spoilers. We really should, and if you do run, a third-party candidate, they really should have some realistic chance of winning. Where they can, I mean, Ross Perot probably could have done better, of course, if he didn't sabotage himself. Or even a Jerry Brown, I mean, he would get, huge numbers compared to what he actually got in the race if people didn't know that, well, look, if he can't win, I'm not going to vote for him, so I'm not going to throw my vote away. And so it's just an artificial system. It keeps third-party candidates down, keeps them out of the race, gives them no incentive to even run. And so it's just an easy fix. There can't be a rational argument against it. The only argument against it is that the vested special interests who are invested in the two-party shit don't want it because they know that all this lousy wheeling and dealing that keeps their issues alive, even though they shouldn't be, is empowered by this system that just steals representation from people. So, of course, I would add to this something that just magnifies the value of it, many times, and that is that the whole our system is based on geography, which is just so stupid. We should not be voting our geography. It's stupid. I mean, I can't believe no one is talking about that. I mean, I haven't read anywhere. I mean, I'll go looking, but I don't see anybody suggesting that reform, and that just amazes me that I'm the only one. I've been doing it for almost 2 decades. Of course, no one's paying any attention, but regardless, I have written on the subject. I'll post a link. Anyway, the idea is very simple. I mean, yeah, we aren't our geography. We are our philosophy. And so, in legislative elections, elections where you're voting for a legislature in a representative body, the election should be wide open. It should be your vote. You should be able to vote for anybody on earth. And then, if you use the instant runoff procedure, you would have a list of choices. Your first 10 choices of candidates, and there'd be a simple procedure that if the candidate was your first choice has no chance of winning, then the vote would go to your second choice, and if that candidate has no chance of winning, go to your third choice. And anyway, the point would be is that the legislative body would be made up of the entire spectrum. Everybody would win the election, essentially. There'd be no way for the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to steal your representation. Obviously, in my state, in this town, completely owned and operated by the Republican Party, I haven't had a meaningful vote for Congress or the state legislature since I've been alive, just about. No chance. None of my candidates ever came close to winning. So I've always had these people that say they're my representative, and they're completely the antithesis of everything I believe in. I mean, I might as well be voting for Adolf Hitler. And it's stupid, idiotic. I mean, they don't have, for them to be able to say I'm their representative when I hate their guts is stupid. And obviously, like I said, if you're electing a body, why everybody should have a representative they actually affirmatively voted for, and it can be done. And it's just idiotic. It's done so simply. We have the technology now. Look, 200 years ago, they didn't have computers, didn't have all this stuff. They couldn't do stuff like this. We can now, And I think Thomas Jefferson would be all for this idea if he was alive today, because he just couldn't even. There was no way for him to even consider such a thing back in the day when they were forming this country. And there's no reason for us not to move into the future and improve our democracy. And there's no reason for representative bodies not to reflect the real sentiments of the people, to have the extremists in the conversation, to allow them to have a voice. Because the guy I want to vote for, he's not going to be calling, he's not going to be saying my friend from Nebraska or any of that crap. I want him to go in there and kick their lying butts. All right, I want to vote. I want the freedom to vote for an honest man. And that's we all it should be a part of our entitlement. And so all this corruption, all these lousy judges, all this lousy politics, all of it gets completely radically changed if you have this kind of system, because if the guy doesn't do his job, if he doesn't do what you wanted him to do, he's gone, because he has to get your vote. He has to get affirmative votes. He can't steal votes through rigging a district or any of this other crap. And so it's an everybody wins solution. I'm just so. Look, I'm only getting, I'm not even getting 100 views for these videos now, and it's just like, there's just no way to get anything to happen. It just changes so hard. And but anyway, so yeah, I'd like to hear arguments against it, and I don't want to hear people, if somebody's going to say something like, we're not a democracy, we're a republic, or this other kind of semantic crap. I mean, the point is we're being represented by our geography. The same majority gets to own every single legislative office, because all we do is have 100 mini majority elections. Okay, and so it's the same, obviously, in most regions. The same, if the only way you can have representation with such a system is you'd have to be segregated. You'd have to be geographically segregated, and obviously, I don't think we have anything close to that anymore. Okay, philosophies are not geographically segregated, and so through this system, all philosophical minorities are out of luck. You will not have a representative. 28, 25% of the population smokes. You won't have one single person representing cigarette smokers in the legislature. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, not if you're going to call yourself a democracy, and not if you're going to use words like representation.